A little brighter.
You're going to get the light.
No brighter than that tight. That's a nice
Come on this side, George.
Okay, I like it. Thank you, Mr. Galloway. Appreciate your time.
That is bright.
Look at him.
You good?
Yeah.
Tell me what you told me earlier. We spoke on the phone that you said you're making moves to reduce the number of people in the building and at the same time increase the parking.
Well, what we're trying to do is address any legitimate issues there are in this case. And the issues that have been raised on prior occasions have been that there aren't enough parking spaces for the number of people that will be in the building, or there will be too many people in the area or in the building at any one time. So what we've done is we have increased the number of parking spaces from the 81 spaces that are there now to 111 spaces. And we've also decreased the number of people that could be within the building at any one time based on those parking spaces. There is no limitation on a church anywhere in Sandy Springs on the number of people that could be located in any church at any one time other than fire code. But what the Church of Scientology has done is voluntarily placed, originally they put a 283 person cap, and now they have reduced it to 170 people. So we're going to have 111 parking spaces for the maximum of 170 people on site at any one time. The issue that was raised by the community was, we don't want a mega church at this location. 170 people is not a mega church. It's 170 people at any one time with 111 parking spaces, and you've got traffic that's going to be less than the existing use. We've addressed traffic, we've addressed parking spaces, we've addressed aesthetics, we've addressed all the different issues, and yet there's still opposition. We don't feel like that opposition is justified.
These ladies, and I think you heard their frustration at the podium, say that there's no way to enforce it, that they don't know how they could be sure that those members would stay at the camps that you say. How would it be enforced? How can you assure this community that those numbers would stay as you say?
The same way that the city of Sandy Springs is requiring that schools and daycares enforce a cap. They require self-enforcement. If there are any issues, they require records to be provided. They can always monitor, because you can monitor people going in and out of the site. There are no overnight stays that are allowed, so it's very easy to monitor. They can shut it down at any point for a violation, just like they can shut down any use for a zoning violation. They can shut down the church for a zoning violation, and they'd have to appear in environmental court in Sandy Springs to answer those charges.
And as folks say, they're frustrated because February had started, and here we are going on December, and it's a week before, 10 days before Christmas. You heard all those arguments. What about that? I mean, how long before there is resolution?
Well, we hope there will be a resolution by December 15th. The Church of Scientology is very frustrated as well, because they've been at this for almost a year as well. And so the Church of Scientology is very frustrated. We understand the process can take a good bit of time, and so we're following that process. And so we're trying to do everything we can to address the legitimate concerns and let Sandy Springs City Council make their decision. So that's the procedure.
The other thing that these folks are saying is that this is not as a church of Catholic, Baptist denominations, such like where they've got Sunday service or services at one specific time, that the Church of Scientology has a continuing basis of traffic for a different approach to religion, and they say that's one of their concerns, that it's a continual stream of people.
Well, first of all, Church of Scientology does have a Sunday service. They have once a week service. They're not a congregational type church like many of the churches you described. However, that doesn't mean that under the City of Sandy Springs ordinance they can be treated any differently than any other church. And so far they have been treated differently than any other church, because every other church in Sandy Springs is required to provide one space for every 3.5 people in the largest auditorium. when the Church of Scientology bought this site, they were aware of that fact, knew that they could comply with it, and yet here we are, and we're having issues about parking, and we're going to provide at least twice as many parking spaces as the code would require, and that they have imposed on any other church in Sandy Springs.
If it isn't the parking, then what do you think is the opposition?
You would have to ask the opposition that question.
They
But
say it's not the parking.
we have.
I mean, they say it's not. The
They say it's not the church, but they've also said the issue was parking. We've addressed that. They've said it's traffic. The city's experts as well as our experts have shown that traffic will be substantially less with this use than the existing use. A church is an allowed use in the O&I district. This property is already zoned O&I. We're changing a condition of zoning to allow the church to operate.
Anything else, sir?
That's it.
Thank you for your
Thank you
time.
very much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Do you have one of your cards?
Yes, it's a. You want
George, go and hold the other side.
No, let me hold it. It's not my place to hold anything in this story.
He just wants it still.
Yeah, right. That's all I want. I don't care about
The other
that.
folks will be watching me saying, "What are you helping them?"
So that's
Tilt it towards me.
So that's an existing
There we go.
building that it's just going to be cosmetically renovated on the outside.
Was a realtor's office before?
It was.
Nice building.
It's a very nice building.
Now, where's the one in Hollywood? Vine and Hollywood? Church of Scientology? I used to live in Hollywood, and they were right by KFWB where I used to work. And that's the one that's more famous because of all the celebrities.
The Celebrity Center?
Yeah, yeah. Now, are you a Scientologist at all? You're an attorney.
I'm an attorney.
Is there anybody here
Okay.
I
from the
believe in
church?
freedom
good.
of religion. Yeah,
That's what
there-
this country's
Yep,
founded
that's
on.
right.
Thank you, sir.
No, I'm not a Scientologist.
Thanks, Bill.